So with this, we are all set for our next interesting session that awaits us. So to take us through that session, I would invite Mayank Naidu on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mayank Naidu.
Thank you so much, everyone. May I start with the good news first? All the participants are entitled for $100 Microsoft Azure vouchers, which you can collect post the table topics session. And you can visit the Microsoft desk for that. So big round for our goodies sponsor, Microsoft. With that, I am coming towards you to have the impromptu table topic speaking session. And maybe we will have some more fun in and around this. I have received some encouraging participation from the audience. Do we have Unmesh Gundecha here? Do we have Unmesh Gundecha? Do we have Vaibhav Pandya? Yes, Vaibhav. So, given the opportunity to restart your IT career, do you wish to restart as a software tester? So if yes, why? And if no, please justify. You have 2 minutes. And ladies and gentlemen, there are goodies for the table topic winners as well. Yes, I am giving it to you.
You said 2 minutes, right? I can give the answer in 2 seconds. Everyone should, everyone should refresh their memory about the entire day's topics. If whatever we heard is true, then definitely there is a career for tester. So that's my answer. However, if you want me to complete the 2 minutes, I can go on and on. Okay. So there is no negative marks for more than 2 minutes, right?
For qualifying, you need to speak for 1 minute.
Okay. Good enough. Good enough. Okay. So if I want to answer this question seriously, that if I have to start a career as a tester, my answer is yes. The reason for that could be, let me set some foundation thought, for that. First of all, the thought that comes immediately to mind is what are defects? If I go back to physics, which we all have studied, what is darkness? Darkness is absence of light. What is cold? It is absence of heat. So what are defects? It is absence of quality. It is absence of conformance. It is absence of standards. So if that is the case, thank you. So if that is the case, why shouldn't I go for a testing as a career? Okay, that's my first point. Second point is, I feel that in all the different roles that we have as a IT professionals, tester is a very important and the most smart role. Why? The reason being, if you think about BA writes requirements. Developer develops code, right? So he has to understand the requirement, design and develop code. Now, if a tester has to find a defect in the code which is written by a smart developer, 100% he needs to be smarter than that developer. He needs to understand the requirements well. So it offers a lot of competitiveness among the different roles that we have in IT. So I think that could be the second reason why I would like to be a tester. And third and most important reason, which I personally feel, is the learning. We heard throughout the day that tremendous learning opportunity it offers. Now, if I sum up all these 3 reasons, I don't think anyone would have a single doubt to, say why they do not want to have a testing as a starting career. Thank you very much.
That was a very interesting talk. Thank you so much. And to felicitate him, I would like to invite Sudhir Patil for felicitating him for his interesting talk. Step In Forum does go way beyond to recognize, and he is over-energized to start his career as a software tester. A Microsoft Azure voucher and a Microsoft t-shirt for the participant. All right, moving on to the Second participant. May I call upon Surbhi Lamboj from Adobe. Is she here? All right, Surbhi, you are here. Surbhi Kamboj, I'm so sorry. Do you think there is a bias in industry for software developer? Do you think there is a bias in software industry for software developer versus a software tester? If yes, why? If no, justify.
Well, okay. This is quite an interesting question for all the audience. So, as it is also in continuation with the answer that was given to the previous question, would you like to be a tester? So, okay. So, a tester and a developer are two kids of a product. Okay, so developer is considered to be the elder kid and tester is considered to be a younger kid. Just in terms of age, that a developer first develops and the role of tester begins thereafter. So that is the only difference that I can make out, that they are just the two siblings of the product, and without the good coordination and reconciliation of kids on different topics, the product can't be a success. We can't live a healthy, happy family.
Fantastic way to put two of them as siblings. Just like a parent doesn't have any bias, and so does the industry will not have towards developer. Should not. Thanks for the correction. So still there is belief. May I invite TCS head BFS Vasant Priya to kindly hand over the Microsoft goodie to the participant. Surbhi Kamboj from Adobe. Thank you. Yes.
Developer versus tester, right? So my take is a little bit different. So what I follow, and this is something that I've been doing with my team here, is my testers are not competing, or they are not. They are looking at requirements exactly at the same time when a designer looks at. So my testers are actually designers. So they're not looking at development. They're just not looking at the code which is coming up, but they are looking at the requirements right at the beginning of the stage, and they are even going back to the designers with their view that how the design should be. So it's a little different take. That's how I see test, which is an extension of design rather than just a sibling of development. Yeah.
What's the name of your organization?
I'm from Accenture.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Let's
thanks.
hear it. The event sponsor, Accenture, for taking it to the next level.
So that's what I always talk about, design think, and that's what my team is doing actually. Thanks.
Thank you so much for bringing in a new perspective. Let us have the next round of table topics. Topic. Do we have Kshitij? So Kshitij is there. He's all up. Kshitij, give an example from your experience. How many years of experience you have, Kshitij?
Around 15.
15. So this question is perfect for Kshitij. Give an example from your experience when ignorance to coverage of complete scope of testing backfired for a project or an organization. You have 2 minutes to speak.
I'm assuming that you're asking about my experience, right? Personal experience. So I'll tell you something very interesting which had happened way back when I was around 3 or 4 years old in the testing industry, right? And this is something that I read very recently, which I then understood why it is important, right? When I actually took on I joined a particular project which was already running for another 2-3 years. And quite a few experienced guys, team leads, test managers were on that particular project. And I used to write Windrunner scripts at that time. And I joined that, and I always used to get a deadline of midday, right? 12 p.m. Whatever you want to do with that automation script that you are doing, finish it at 12 p.m. IST, right? And the reason why I used to do it is because my team lead used to tell me that, right? I continued like that for 3 months. I used to scramble to complete whatever I could before 12 p.m. And thereafter, I actually missed out one day. And I was then asked as to why didn't you complete this at 12 p.m., right? And I just said, I missed the deadline today, I didn't know. And then I asked as to why is it important that I finish this at 12 p.m.? So the answer I got was very interesting. The test or the on-site coordinator who was in UK at that time, and that guy was like pretty old guy. And apparently every morning before he took his dog out for a walk, he actually used to take that particular test pack and put it for an automated run, right? And nobody knew the reason, or nobody had told me the reason why, I had to complete this before 12 p.m. And because I had to complete it before 12 p.m., I could list down a number of incidents and number of, I would say, exceptions I had to make that thing complete before 12 p.m. Now, I recently read about a topic called constraints versus preferences, right? And I like to relate to that. So I'm taking more than 2 minutes. That's if that is okay. So constraints versus preferences. What I was told was a preference, right? As in, I was given a preference, or rather, I was. Let me rephrase. I was told that it is a constraint that I have to finish this by 12 p.m., right? What actually it was a preference that this guy in UK had given to his team, saying that, you know what, I walk my dog in the morning. I would like to put this for an automated execution before I do that so that I don't waste 1 hour of my time later on in the day. And the team here took it as a constraint, saying that no matter what, you have to actually finish this before 12 p.m. UK time, right? Important thing that I now learned is to ask explicitly about what is a constraint versus what is a preference. Most of the times we consider preferences to be constraints, right? It is good to ask whether it is a preference or a constraint, because if you consider that preference as a constraint, you are bound to actually leave out or take missteps which could lead to potential problems in terms of your coverage, in terms of your scope, in terms of your plans, right? So conscious effort that I do nowadays is to ask, it's a constraint or it's a preference. So that's my experience, which I learned the hard way. I didn't know that there were beautiful terms like preferences and constraints. 10 years later, I know that, so I use that very effectively. Otherwise, it is sach mein chahiye, nahi chahiye, right? It doesn't sound good. But if you put it like preferences and constraints, it sounds solid, yeah? So try to use the right words and you'll get the right answers.
Thank you so much, Kshitij. You have unlocked something in my mind. I was told many things about constraints, which I now understand as preferences. So it did impact your team. They might have skipped their luncheons or something like that. Every time 12 p.m., no team outing. So constraint versus preferences. Let's hear it for Kshitij. And may I request Mr. Sunil Jagdale to kindly do the honors for Kshitij.
I think he has walked a lot today.
So you are walking the extra mile. Let us have him and Mr. Sunil Jagdale a Microsoft Azure voucher. and Microsoft t-shirt for Kshitij. Constraint versus preferences. Thank you. Do we have Varun Khanna here in the audience? Varun Khanna from Capgemini. You are Varun Khanna? Yeah, you definitely can share your perspective.
This is about reducing the scope of testing, the question which you asked previously. So I think few of you might have heard about the space shuttle challenge, orbiter challenge. So maybe it's a small story I can explain. What happened is so the NASA had a very critical mission to launch a rocket. I mean, it's space shuttle orbiter challenge. You would have you can read that about it. So what happened is due to the management pressure, they had to and some political pressures, they have to push the dates, and they have to launch it very quickly. So if you see that in the rocket there will be a booster, and that boosters there are a couple of vasers. Vasers means it will hold that particular boosters tightly, and it is made of a rubber. So what happened is they said okay, so that particular rubber piece they haven't tested it. The reason is so the normal temperature that won't do anything. So what happened is on the particular launch date, the temperature has come below the expected one. So what happened is the rubber become frozen. Okay, so it's a two rubber washer, and what happened is on the launch date it became frozen, and it started if right, what happens when a rubber become frozen, it is going to break. So it broke, and the whole mission got exploded. So imagine it's a couple of test cases, or one condition test case which they skipped, and the amount of dollars, or the whole mission got failed. So that's about missing the scope. I would like to add two more things maybe. Yeah. So the first, there was a wrong perception about the tester or the role of a tester. So going forward, I think if you see 90% or more than 90% of our projects are running in Agile model. So if you see in Agile Scrum, right, there is no role called testers. It's like product owner, Scrum Master, and it's developers. So don't worry, we won't be called again as testers. Okay, it's all developers. So that's first thing. And then again, if you see that whether we will do there is a wrong perception whether the testing will die or not, all those things. So testing is not going to die, because any product, if you see, there are 4 S that has to be made. For example, 4 S is one is security, another one is stability. Security is very mandated. Stability is functionality of the application. And then again, speed, performance of this one. And scalability is the load of the application. Without testing these 4 S, we are not going to launch our application. And we know what happens if you are not doing testing of these things. So what is going to change is 3 things. When are you going to do the testing? Earlier, in a waterfall model, we could do the testing at the end of the phase. But whereas here, it could be on each phase. It need not to be at the end, and it's in an agile model. It's going to be on each sprint, and everything is going to happen in an agile way. So, and then how you are going to do testing. So, are you going to do at the, hitting at the unit level? Are you going to hit at the API level? Or you are going to hit at the, UI level? So that was we were discussing the whole day. So how you are going to, and then it's who is going to do the testing? Again, so what is the role is called? Whether it is a tester or a developer. So there is no role called tester. So we have to if you see in our extra days context, for that AWS, it was the whole thing has to be done by the tester event. So that's how it's going to be. So don't worry, there is no no need to worry about whether there will be a testing, or are we going to testing is going to survive, or there will be a role call testers, all those things. We will definitely have our jobs. Okay.
Fantastic. Prabhu Ayappan from Cognizant. May I request Sundar Ganesh to please do the honors for Prabhu for adding in so much of a perspective, giving us real-time examples. A Microsoft Azure voucher and a t-shirt for Prabhu Ayappan for being a very active participant in the conference as well. Do we have Rahul Chakravarti from Accenture? Okay, so you are. So I'll give you an interesting topic. This one would be a controversial one since I know the level. Accenture, event sponsors for us. Do you feel regression testing and sanity testing are saviors for testing team before a go live? or it can be ignored as it is a waste of critical delivery time frame.
Now I'm putting, hello, yeah. I'm putting my testing hat on, and I believe that regression testing and sanity testing is very important. And we have, there are a lot of examples from the market that, there was one question also raised by Wolfgang that, or some other speaker before that, how good is your testing framework? Whether it's so automated framework, so or very good, or it has failed. So most of the answers have been in that particular band. And people do have different levels of success and actually getting a total value out of the regression test phase. But if it is implemented in the right way, then I still believe that there are a lot of value that we can get out from regression testing, and it has to be a must before any deployment. Thank you.
Wrong group. It's always so, but I thought about delivery time frame. Is something about the delivery time frame. We see normally many companies, they say sanity testing, regression testing, we trust our developers and testers too much. So from the faith perspective, the question was like that. I mean, there's something called as ideal situation, something called as reality TV. So the question was for reality TV. We can be saints here, but we know.
I'm not speaking for exception, but for the projects that I'm looking at.
Absolutely.
We follow the right process.
Absolutely.
I don't know about what happened.
Is your hand on your heart? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. May I request Smita Kelkar to please rise and felicitate Rahul Chakravarti from Accenture. All right, ladies and gentlemen, do we have Unmesh Gundecha? Unmesh? Oh, you are there. Okay. Do you mind coming this side, Unmesh? All right, topic for Unmesh is what are the pros and cons of performance testing versus security testing? Performance versus security testing. Does either of them come with a cost of being mutually exclusive to the other one?
Sorry, I mean the and the test authorton contestant will probably remember the surprise challenge yesterday. So please, Kshitij, enough. So I think they are mutually exclusive. They are, both are important for the application to go live. They are different. The performance is about of the speed and the stability, whereas security is about the trust within the application. So they are both different, and they are essential for the application. As part of the various abilities of testing different abilities, these are really important. It cannot be like you cannot ignore performance for security or security for performance. Then you are you lose trust on both sides. Yeah. Sorry, you changed my topic.
I tried giving you the best one out of them. May I invite Vinay Bed to please felicitate Unmesh Gundecha for still taking up the surgical strike. Yes.
Just want to add my view on that. I believe it's not that we need to do all kind of testing in all the applications. So it is possible that sometime we can ignore security testing, or sometime we can ignore performance testing. If you say banking application, yes, I think security is more essential than the performance. So yes, in terms of answer to your question, it is possible that one can be go. We can work out with one eyes only. Sometime we don't need two eyes. In my view, I mean, you don't need all the testing every time. Performance testing can be replaced security testing when it is required, and vice versa. Just my thought.
Do I get a counter from Prabhu for this? Can I get a counter from Prabhu for this?
Is very important for me for any of my application. So I can't compromise on security. No, it's not about critical. Like, I don't know what happens at what time, right? I mean, this application may not be a critical application, but there will be other application running in my same environment or something. So this could be like, a open port for my other applications or my system. So I don't want to leverage that.
So it was for the scope coverage, just like our dear Prime Minister Narendra Modi came out of syllabus for everyone. So is this scope coverage. You never know when the client will come back and tell you, no, I needed a very brilliant performance and I thought that this was a non-functional requirement. So I stand in middle of you, sir. Thank you. With that, we conclude the table topic session. It has been a fantastic audience and it has been a fantastic show for all of us for this day one. I hope you are having your feedback forms along with you. Please do provide your feedback. It helps us to improve and come up with even better conference. And we are all geared up for tomorrow's day, looking out for more contests like these. And of course, the last word of the day from the audience.
Hello everyone, I'm Hari from TCS. Since morning we have seen many topics like importance of testing, significant role of testing, and why testing can be considered as our future, etc. Probably down the line, maybe 3 years down the line, I think we must have to conduct a session like shifting from automation to a new topic. Any guess? Say for example, now we have been discussing switch from manual to automation. Any guess what is next? Automation to next? Any idea? Any guess? Manual to automation, automation to? I think we are too advanced. By 2020, I guess, I will name like automation, I feel, that's right. Artificial intelligence, robotics might be replaced by 2025, but I'm asking 2020. Scriptless automation. Say, for example, I think most of you would be agreed with me, that too especially folks from test automation background would surely agree with me. The reason because I'm part of Mobility Assurance Center of Excellence team TCS, and every day I'm interacting with customers. Directly, I'm interacting with customers. Initially, they will come up with this requirement, and we need to provide the solution. By the time we give the list of technologies which may be required to implement the solution, they will be tired. The reason because many testing frameworks are available. Say for example, QTP, Selenium, now Cucumber, etc. By the time they identify what is the best suit for their project, they have to do a detailed research. Then we will say Jenkins, CI/CD, GitHub, integration, etc. lot many. And we have to say, especially for mobile, I think for web it's pretty easy because it's almost a few versions of the browsers needs to be tested, but that's not the case in mobile because mobile testing is very complex and it's very expensive testing. I think most of you would be agree with me on this aspect. So we just imagine test application for 10 devices will be pretty easy. 100, okay. How about 1,000? Imagine how Facebook, Google are testing their application. I have read it in a blog that Facebook, Google are testing in more than 1,500 devices for each build. which means every day there is, say, let's assume if Google is releasing, Google is maintaining many applications. Let's assume 50 plus applications are available in the Google Play Store, and there are major releases at least twice in a day or once in a day, and they have to ensure that particular build working properly in 1,000 or 1,000 plus devices. So, which means automation engineer has to write or modify the script or update the script for just to ensure the script is properly executing across 1,500 testing devices. Just imagine how complex is this. So that the reason nowadays customers started asking, do we need to really script, or is there any scriptless automation solution do you have in your place? I think that's what Mr. Platts was talking about morning. Automation is okay, but scriptless automation is going to rule the world in, I feel by 2020, I'm sure, I think Tosca has already initiated that framework. By 2020, we'll be having many frameworks or many tools which can support scriptless automation. Probably by 2 years down the line, I'm sure that Step-in Forum will conduct a session, manual automation, then now scriptless automation. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. So the bar of expectation is raising higher and higher for Step-in Forum, and I believe definitely there will be a time you will see that kind of a session coming in. Thank you so much, everyone. Looking forward for all of you to be here tomorrow and participate with even greater enthusiasm. We can call it a day for today's evening. I'm sure you're not going back without your Microsoft Azure vouchers. Do visit the Microsoft counter, the goodies sponsor. Thank you so much.